Hey everyone, family, friends, everybody, miss you, love you. Want to say thank you for all the support, text, messages, prayers. It's all greatly needed and greatly appreciated. So I do want to say that. So day five here, but I've only been at the actual hospital for 2 nights. We'll be going in here shortly for the third. Last night was in their PACU area that they had converted for ICU patients. They had taken two of their large, I think maybe OR suites, two large rooms, and have patients in those, so they are not in individual rooms, they are just open. So there was no break from the mask last night. You had to kind of walk out of the unit a little bit of a ways just to get a break from your mask, which for me is a necessity. I feel like I'm going to have a red ring around my mouth where I feel it stays moist and hot. Of course, you're going to hear me say that because it's so hot. But we still have PPE. The facility that I'm at is, of course, no abundance. I don't think there's an abundance anywhere, but we do have it. I think some of the other hospitals are struggling a little bit more with that. So, did see Ray of Hope last night. I got a couple patients that are improving, or one of them wasn't mine. He was a gentleman in his 60s, COVID positive, of course, intubated, whole 9 yards. And last night he had been extubated for a day and a half and was improving, of course, still requiring supplemental oxygen. But, he was extubated and, at times was appropriate. These patients are staying so hypoxic, their oxygen saturations are running really low, even when we have these ventilators maxed out. We're seeing patients that are, living in an area of saturations in the 70s, low 80s. Typically, we want you 92 or above. So when you're looking at numbers like this, of course, your brain isn't getting as much oxygen as it needs or we would like. So I'm wondering how some of the patients that do end up extubated will fare neurologically, how intact they will be with lack of oxygen like that. So, but this gentleman is extubated and is doing better, so that's a good sign. And I took care of a young lady, she was in her 30s, that we were hoping to extubate this morning after I left. We were preparing for that before I left, turning sedation off, changing around some of her ventilator settings so that she was doing the breathing and everything. So I have high hopes for her. Lots of secretions, so that's a concern. If they're able to still protect their airway, things like that. So if I'm in the same area, hopefully I'll have an update on her, if they were able to extubate, how she did, things like that. So it's still sick people, but it's nice to see that they're maybe we'll have some improvements, and you don't see it often, people leaving the hospital, and I hope this is going to be 2 more cases of people actually being able to leave the hospital once they've had this diagnosis. More and more areas of the hospital that I'm at are becoming ICU type areas because the patients are requiring the ventilators. Saw one of our med-surg nurses last night who has never taken care of a vent, drips, anything like that. She is a med-surg trained nurse, and last night had to ventilator patients, one on a Precedex drip. She was a rock star. She took it in stride. She kind of Googled what she needed to, what to look for. She asked questions, but this is more and more of what you're seeing because this is what the patients are requiring, and there's only so many ICU nurses available, that the hospital there's vents everywhere, and so these nurses are really having to learn on the fly how to suction, what to look at on the vents, and a lot of the vents are old. They are transport vents, EMS vents. Several I have never seen, could never begin to understand everything that I'm looking at on it. Kind of learn the beeps and their FiO2, things like that, things that you have to know. But different, definitely different. So we'll see how things are going. I'll try to keep you updated. I know you'll hear me complain about how hot it is a lot because it's really hot. It's just physically taxing on the body to be in our gear for as long as we are. It's hot. We are having some people with some CO2 buildup just because we have the masks on and we're breathing it back in. Never even crossed my mind. Nurses complaining of dehydration. Of course, we're not able to take the breaks that we need or keep beverages nearby, having, to really leave the area to remove a mask, to get something to drink if you have time. And then with the amount of sweat that we're producing, some people are complaining of dehydration. I'm trying to do my best to stay hydrated as much as possible. I drink a lot when I get off and before I go in, and try to step off to drink water as well as you can. Just kind of doing the best we can. So some of the nurses that first came with this company I think I saw them yesterday, and they were on day 19, so I applaud them for sticking it out. And some of them are even going to stay longer than their 21 days. So just, I guess, stay safe, try to stay at home. I know it's killing my 15-year-old right now, but we've got to, contain the spread. She'll understand one day. So in the meantime, just stay safe and try to stay at home. I'll keep you updated as well as I can, and we'll see how tonight goes. Always, prayers are appreciated.